Good people, hope we're all doing well on this blessed Sunday. Here to bring you guys another outlook for the week ahead. Okay, now before we get into it, for those that are looking to start their trading journey, please head over to litcapital.co.uk and have a browse of the website, see what you can take in from an information perspective. There's definitely some free advice for you. And if you are interested, just make an inquiry via the website for us. We'd love to get you started. Okay, now before we get into the charts, of course, we will be obviously attending the economic calendar for the week ahead to see what news events are coming out. Okay, so on the Monday, of course, we're just going to kind of look for anything high impact, mainly to kind of see what days to kind of look out for in terms of a volatility perspective as well as opportunity perspective. Okay, so on the Monday, nothing really standing out to me from that regard. Okay, if we go into the Tuesday, we got meeting minutes from the RBA, okay, with Central Bank of Australia. We got retail sales for China, GDP for China as well, and unemployment for China, okay. And then going into that Tuesday morning, excuse me, we got the unemployment rate and the employment data coming from the GBP. Okay, so definitely interested in that on that morning. And then going into the afternoon, we got inflation data for the CAD, for those that trade the CAD, as well as CPI as well. So yeah, definitely look out for that. Going into Wednesday, okay, we got inflation data for the Great British Pound. So 100% interested in that. Employment data as well as inflation data. So definite heavy, high impact statistics coming out for the pound. So those trading pound pairs, be aware of that. So later into the Wednesday London session, we've got CPI as well for the Eurozone. That's pretty okay. CPI for New Zealand dollar as well for those that trade that. Thursday, balance of trade for the yen. Jobless claims for the US sticks out, and home sales as well kind of sticks out. Friday, we got consumer confidence for the pound again, retail sales for the pound as well. So you know, a lot of pound focus in terms of news releases this week. PMI for some Eurozones, as well as PMI for the pound. So yeah, definite pound. I think we could focus on the pound from a news perspective today, see how that's going to impact those specific charts. And then going into the afternoon on Friday, retail sales and PMI for the US as well. So a lot of inflation data for the pound is kind of what I'm looking at from the you know, I don't want to say the best data, but the high impact. Anything inflation wise right now, you need to be on board with and aware of, because that is kind of the forefront of what everyone is trying to get down, is including the central banks are trying to bring the rate of inflation down. So if we get a positive rate or a negative rate, that's going to impact the upcoming interest rates for next week, I believe. So stay in tune for that. So going over to the charts, if we start with the dollar, we kind of had a bounce up after taking out this low from February. So February's low got grabbed. We kind of had a push up into this imbalanced area here. So kind of looking at that and what we can kind of perceive from there if we're going to continue up. I do think we are, you know, going off the daily and stuff, we could potentially get a proper retracer. I don't feel like we've really had a big retracement. So obviously I don't want to overlook this area we're currently in, because we could react in this imbalance going into the 4 hour to kind of potentially, you know, feel a little bit more imbalanced and then react back down. But if we start to see like bigger time frames, like the 1 hour and stuff, showing, you know, we've got this bullish push up on the Friday, like if we can kind of see a structure form on a 1 hour to kind of give us a higher low and stuff like that, then we could potentially see that bigger time frame retracement. So how that kind of impacts GBPUSD, again, we kind of took out the daily high. Wait, if we go on the daily here, you can see that we took out some daily highs, and then we had quite a big move to the downside, considering we've been rising for some time with GBPUSD. Now, obviously, with all the data and the news coming out this week, inflation data, retail sales, all of that good stuff, right? We're gonna have to see another trade potentially develop for this. Okay, so we have a double bottom here, where we could basically see that dip, and then we could see a reaction. Now, whether or not that's going to be a turnaround point is another thing. Okay, now going off the 4 hour, I do think we could potentially come down lower. Looking at this low here as well. Just pointing out that if we go off the higher time frames, you know, we've been very, very bullish on GU. Okay, now taking out the previous week's high, we took out these highs here, but we didn't really get a downwards closure. Okay, so in terms of like us pulling up here, I would like to see a weekly pullback of some sort if we could have a downward week. So if that in turn means the dollar getting stronger, and then coupling that with the inflation data, if it's positive or negative, that could influence a bigger move to the downside. Okay, now I don't necessarily see a buy setup on the 4 hour here. So I do feel like we definitely will dip some liquidity areas first. It's just whether or not we want to come for this one. I can kind of see a play in this area here that would make a bit more sense if we were to get bullish from there. But looking at it, you know, there isn't an available buy setup. So I do think, looking at the 4 hour and the daily pictures and stuff, we could continue down off of what we kind of saw on the Friday. So obviously gonna see how the market plays out on the Monday, and then going into that Tuesday, see what kind of formulates in and around that inflation data release. Going on to, I want to talk to oil about oil quickly. This has been ranging for a little while now, so we kind of had this range. We go on the 4 hour here. We kind of had this range here. Didn't really dip any lows. We took some internal liquidity, but the low of the actual range didn't get dipped, and then we pushed up. Now, what I'm looking at on the weekly and what I've noticed is we're playing into this imbalance on the weekly. Now, weekly highs have been taken. Whether or not we want to open up and take out this week's high, which will then be the previous week's high as we go into Monday, and then push up into there, and then kind of formulate a new sell setup. I'm here for it basically, because I do think you know, we do need a retracement, considering we pushed up, gone into a consolidation, pushed up again. Haven't really formed a sell setup yet, so I do think, you know, potentially we push up one more time, and then, you know, if we could kind of see something form in that weekly imbalance, that's kind of what I'm looking for. So it wouldn't surprise me if these highs get taken out from the Thursday and stuff like that. So let's see, you know, going into the Friday, we kind of consolidated, nothing really happened from a sell setup perspective, and then I feel like, you know, we want to take out that liquidity before getting something. So I've definitely got eyes on oil going into this week for sure. Final thing I want to kind of walk through is the indices, which haven't been the easiest of reads this month. Well, I'll say this month, but yeah, going into March, it was kind of sloppy. But now that we're in the second quarter, I'm kind of pinning it to that in terms of maybe we haven't made the high or the low of the quarter yet. So where we've just kind of been pushing, had a bit of a consolidation going into previous weeks. Whether or not we want to, you know, take out previous highs from February, that could be on the cards. There's no real setup for a sell just yet. I don't feel like there's nothing really powering us through. So where we have taken out obviously previous days highs, we did get a push down. Whether or not we want to continue to push down, you know, is yet to be seen. So it's like, I'm kind of looking at this candle we're in at the moment, but it depends on how we want to play out, because it hasn't really given us, you know, that big sell-off that potentially could come. I feel like where we've kind of pushed up quite a bit, looking at the bigger time frames, it's like maybe we're gearing up to get a sell-off at some point, but it's just playing the setups that are available. So just looking at the S&P and stuff like that, when you kind of transcript it to the Nasdaq, US 30, similar pictures. If we have a look, this is a bit more rangy on the Nas, so hasn't really been the best instrument to try and trade. I feel like, you know, if we break out above here or below, that would make a bit more sense, just looking at the bigger pictures again, going on the daily and stuff. Like, I feel like if we break above, then obviously we've got liquidity here, we've got this area here as well. I think it's a weekly area, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's a daily area, sorry. So I think it's a daily imbalance area. So I feel like if we if we do push up out and get out of this 4 hour range, because this isn't really a great picture, I would look to kind of see something similar in terms of highs being taken out and then potential sells forming in that area. But we'll see, man. That's kind of what I've got for the week ahead. Everything that I've kind of gone through will be posted in our Discord. If you need access to our Discord, again, you can hit us up on our socials or inquire through our website as well to gain access. It is a subscription-based system, £25 a month, and there is a lot of value in there, guys. So head over to our website again and check it out and see if you want to actually come and join our community. So that's all for today, guys. Appreciate you all for joining in. Make sure you like and subscribe. If you found this video useful, you know the vibes, and remember, every day is money day. Peace.